Hello everyone, Marco Collective Gamer 77 here, or Marco CG77, and today we're taking a look at the Simpsons Arcade 1up. This will be an overview slash review of the system itself, as you can see from the pictures, the outer and inner boxing, and of course the Arcade 1up itself put together. I will be starting off this video with the one of the biggest knocks, which is the placement of the buttons specifically for Homer. Now, I'm sure many of you have already seen RGT 85s and other gamers a kind of overview review of this Arcade 1up, and your mileage may vary on this point. So I am currently showing you the video of me using the Homer player selection, especially with the way the buttons are very different where they are located on the actual control panel itself compared to the other players you can control. Now, I am about 5'5", 5'6". I have medium-sized hands. So for me, honestly, I had no trouble with playing this game at the way it was placed. Now, if you're a taller or a person with larger hands, again, mileage may vary in regards to how this would constrict your gameplay. But personally, I had no problems playing this game. Played it through 3 times from beginning to end, and even played it online with no difficulties in regards to using Homer itself. But again, I'm 5'5", 5'6", and medium-sized hands, but I had no trouble with placement. But if you do have larger, beefier hands, I could definitely see this being a little bit of a problem. So that said, did want to kind of approach that before I get to the rest of the overview. Now, starting off with the next phase is the actual online of it. So the night that I completed putting the arcade 1up together, I did try some online. Didn't have as much success that evening, but today on Sunday the 28th in the afternoon had played 2 full games online with one other player. And actually, it was pretty decent. It was only 8 millisecond lag for both of us. We did have another player try to join, but unfortunately, their connection was not very good. It was fluctuating between 200 to 300 milliseconds, so that really kind of interrupted our game. So at this point, I'm not sure if that is indicative if you play more than one other player, or if it's just because of the distance of the other player that was trying to join. Otherwise, with the one player that I was playing with, I had no problems. I was playing with another player named Alba online, and we played through the game twice with no lag. As you can see here, the gameplay itself is, basically arcade perfect as far as the graphics. In regards to the sound itself, I'm not sure if RGT 85's machine had something wrong with the speakers, but for the Simpsons arcade game, mine was actually fine. Now, there is kind of a slowdown in the emulation in regards to the intro that I've heard about, and also seen on RGT 85's video in regards to Lisa's saxophone in the intro. To be honest, I don't recall seeing it in the arcade, so I don't know if it lags there as well. But I do know in my Pandora box, it does lag, and it also lags on the RetroArch emulation. So I believe that's an emulation bug. After putting together this Arcade 1up, there is a quick update once you log into the Wi-Fi. It took about a minute, so I'm thinking maybe that update helped alleviate a lot of the sound glitches that was maybe pronounced in RGT 85's video, but I didn't have any cracking in regards to the sound itself. The volume was fairly decent. I was playing it on 11. That was more than loud enough for me. The build quality for the machine was I think really good. I think it captures definitely the feel of the original arcade. This is still a very fun game, albeit you could beat it in about 30 to 45 minutes in a gameplay session. But much like Konami of the old days, this game was made to munch your quarters, much like the Turtles or even the X-Men. The problem with Simpsons, and much also with the first Turtles arcade game, is the collision boxes are a little loose. So I don't know, again, if it was for that time. My guess is that that's the reason why. And of course, these are arcades and it was made to suck up your quarters, but still definitely did not detract from me enjoying the game. And next up, we've got Simpsons Bowling. Now, this game I've never played in the arcade since it came out much later. I am honestly surprised how well this game plays and translates over to whatever board the Arcade 1UP is currently using. I have heard and seen reviews, of course, from other folks that mention that emulating this game is not quite as smooth as far as missing sounds and glitches in animations, so I am pretty surprised this game plays fairly well. Since never played it, I wasn't quite sure of the controls as far as really how to play. It doesn't really go into much detail except for you use the trackball to move and select, and of course pressing the button to start the character. But actually really easy. The select button basically lets you choose your character, choose your position in the lane, and you can use your trackball to actually move the character, adjust the curve, and then once you start the meter by pressing it once, you don't have to hold it down. You just select it, and then once the meter is in the green level, slide the trackball forward, either straight or with a slight curve, in order to bowl to release the ball. Um, Honestly, I sucked this first go around, and this is the first and only video I recorded. So I didn't record it again today. Once I had a little bit more time to play with it. So this is just initially straight out after putting together the Arcade 1UP and me playing. The graphics themselves are fairly well done for what it is back in the day. It looks pretty decent. The sound bites and the character, as far as the unique bites that they say, really kind of add to the ambiance of the character. It's a fun, quick little game. It's nice to see that it was included in this Arcade 1UP to give it a little bit of variety. In that respect, I think it is a better choice than the Turtles Arcade or 1UP, where you really only had two games, which were both beat 'em ups, and this wasn't much variety. But very fun and a surprise. So I'm glad that they were actually able to license and get this game. It's eventually a quick pickup and, of course, fun to play. Alright, now to get to the kind of meat of this overview slash review. Is this Simpsons Arcade 1UP pickup a worthy addition to your collection? I would say it actually depends. Honestly, if you can find it at Walmart whenever they restock it or it's back at the 5.29 price, or even lower, I completely recommend it. I think at the 5.29 or lower price, definitely worth the pickup. Even with only two games, at least those two games are different. The first game is playable online, so definitely like that. It would have been nice if they made Simpsons Bowling online as well, but I could see with some of the pieces about the trackball and lag, that could be a factor that honestly would not translate very well. Now at the $6.99 price, I honestly don't feel that this is worth the pickup. Only because I know Arcade 1UP hasn't given a specific reason on the increase of price in their cabinets. Um, Honestly, I picked up my Marvel Superheroes Direct from Arcade 1UP, and that came with Sanwa joystick, Sanwa buttons, lit marquee, riser, and was limited to 8,000 units, and that was only $3.99, and literally just 2 years ago. To now this at $6.99 with two games, but it does have online. But at $6.99, honestly, it's not worth it unless you this game really speaks to your childhood and your want and ability to purchase this at the $6.99 price. I went ahead and picked it up. This is honestly going to be one of my last Arcade 1UPs to complete the collection, both just due to space in my arcade slash garage, and just because the prices that are going up for Arcade 1UP. They haven't really introduced enough games for the price to their units, and I think Arcade 1UP knows that their time is limited with just how much arcade games, um, as far as unique IP, they are in a unique space where they are really selling memories, or that feeling of seeing the game way back when in the arcade when you were a child, when you were a teenager. And this game I remember from playing it at Wild Waves. here in Washington State when I was 11 or 12 with my friends along with X-Men. So for me, it's definitely a nostalgia factor, capturing a piece of my childhood, and that's honestly the reason why I picked this arcade one-up cabinet up. The version I did pick up was actually with the stool and with the tin sign, only because I had accidentally um, canceled my reservation for the Walmart 529 version. I really wish I didn't and kept it. But just go ahead and complete it. I'm only picking up The Simpsons, X Men, and Killer Instinct. Um, and down the road, if I can find the Terminator 2 arcade game, Arcade 1 Up, for $4.99 on sale, I'll pick that up to round everything out. But honestly, for what you're getting and what you have and the build quality, I would say honestly, it's not worth the $6.99. But at $5.29 or lower, a complete buy, especially if it speaks to your nostalgia. Next, for some of the negative reviews out there that really brought up the quality control, especially I know in our GTA 85's video, especially the sound. Honestly, for the Simpsons arcade game portion, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking maybe the update fixed it. I had no problems with the sound. There were no cracks, no crackles while the game was playing. I did actually notice some crackling when it came to the Simpsons bowling version of the games that's included, where in some of the sound bites there was a bit of crackle um, on the speakers due to the emulation. So as far as the Simpsons arcade game, whatever update that Arcade One Up had published, at least when I put together this Arcade One Up on Saturday the 27th, I did not notice anything after that, at least as far as the arcade game. For the placement of the control panel, I speak about it briefly. I think your mileage may vary there. If you're a person that is taller than 5'5", 5'6", or have pretty thick or large hands, the Homer placement could be possibly a problem. Again, for myself, being 5'5" / 5'6", with medium-sized hands, I had no problem playing Homer with the ball top. I could see that if you did have larger hands, that maybe you switch to a bat top configuration, that would actually work out. Overall, if I did have to give this rating, at least for the game that I've played today, with my physical size and everything else, barring the price, I would give it an 8 out of 10. The reason why I gave it an 8 is because the Wi Fi on the Simpsons mode, especially if you don't have enough people to play at times, it's fun to just play Wi Fi for free. Albeit your connection may vary, I did only play with one other person, so with two players at an 8 millisecond lag time, it was basically arcade perfect. It was no problem. It was like playing with somebody in the room with me. Um, Fortunately, my wife didn't want to play, so I didn't have as many chances. I'm going to keep trying the Wi-Fi to see if 3 or 4 players, hopefully with decent distance and that there isn't too much lag, and a full 4 players online would be fun with less than say 10 or 15 milliseconds. All right, so I did pick up these machines. So I'll be picking up Simpsons, X Men, and Killer Instinct. One for my channel to review, and two because they are the '90s arcade games that stand out to me. Besides the ones that I've already picked up for my own collection, I'm running out of space. Beyond those ones, I can maybe fit 1 or 2 more, but that's about it. And honestly, the pricing that Arcade One Up has settled on is not one that is friendly to the consumers, and I think they're basically ripping off consumers at this point. Um, Other manufacturers are companies like, say, Unico, who is producing the MVSX, which is a great machine for $4.99 shipped with 50 games. I think again for these type of scaled down arcade machines that captures nostalgia in your childhood should be no more than $4.99. And passing on the cost of shipping or licensing or cost of materials, whatever, is a joke. That said, I picked these up. These are going to be my last Arcade One Up machines. Down the road, if they make a House of the Dead with a 20-inch monitor, or Time Crisis with a 20-inch monitor and includes all 3 Time Crisis games and all 3 Arcade One Up games, maybe. But honestly, at this point, for the '90s arcade games that they've released, These will be the last reviews that I'll be doing for arcade game like this for my channel. So, again, if you are going to pick this up, pick it up if it's on sale, $5.29 or less, but not at the full retail price of $6.99. Thank you for watching this overview. Please like and subscribe.